What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Blunderbuss79, and today we got the patch note video for you. It's a lot to get into.
You need to keep both eyes open.
Alpha level confirmed. Encryption code accepted. Safeguards removed.
So let's get right into it. Getting 3 new uniforms, 1 new character, 2 seasonal uniforms, and a world boss. Angel is going to be getting a tier 4 advancement as well as a uniform. Black Swan is coming to the game as a native tier 3 speed supervillain. Thanos is getting a uniform to kind of replace, at least in the PvP sense, the former Thanos uniform. And then the former Thanos uniform itself is getting an upgrade as well. So a lot to get into. Angel and Satana are going to be the seasonal uniforms this go round. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We do got a lot of this translation chopped up text stuff going on. My guess is it's some kind of translation error or something. So we'll just click on it. As far as Black Swan, she's going to be available through the World Boss Legend Plus new boss. She's coming to the game as a speed supervillain alien female. She's going to have the evil and black order tags, and her instinct is going to be destruction. As far as her skills are concerned, she's going to have applies to all allies. For her leadership, debuff removal for 12 seconds on a 20-second cooldown. She's also going to get an increased additional pierce damage by 5%, decrease all basic damage received by 40%, and then for the activation rate, she's going to get the HP when below 40%, ignores basic damage for 7 seconds, increase basic damage for 10 seconds that is ignored up to 60%, and decrease all basic damage received by 10% up to 60%. This is going to be on a 120-second cooldown, so she'll probably be able to pop this thing once in the fight, but when she does, look out, because she's going to be really difficult to kill, and she's going to be hitting really hard for the next 7 seconds. In addition to that, she's got a lot of different ways to heal herself. So yeah, for the 4-star passive, she's going to have 50% chance to penetrate everything, as well as super armor, increase all basic defenses by 50%, and increase skill damage and bonus damage by 45%. And if it's removed, it reactivates in 3 seconds. So that's actually pretty dope. On the 1, she's going to get some stun. On the 2, she's going to get a counterattack, and then she's also going to get the ignore targeting effect for 3 seconds. So that's actually going to be really dope. In addition to that, she's going to get some remove active buff from target, some paralysis, some stun and burn, as well as 100% chance for a damage immunity for 4 seconds. So really strong skill. That second skill is on a 10-second cooldown, so she's going to be able to pop that thing every 5 seconds. For the third skill, she's going to get some burn, some stun, some incapacitation, 25% heal, a 1.3% damage accumulation. That's going to be on a 15-second cooldown. For the 4, she's going to get some fracture, incapacitation, burn, and paralysis, as well as invincibility and a 15-hit barrier for 8 seconds with an invincibility for 5 seconds. It would be really nice if the barrier didn't kick in. If this portion kicked in like in second 3.5 or 4, that would be really dope. Yes, the barrier doesn't do very much, but that is gonna, like, we've never seen these 2 skills together before on the same skill, I don't think, so it'll be interesting to see what the overlap is gonna be like. She's also gonna get some burn, stun, paralysis, or some all defense down, and then she's also gonna get some increase all base attack by 65% and defense with a crit rate buff of 35% that removes incapacitation on a 16-second cooldown. Looking to be somewhat proc friendly. Yeah, Black Swan could be really strong for PvP with this second skill, along with a lot of the defensive abilities that she does have in her kit, along with the heal, 100% chance for damage immunity, all of this sort of stuff, and its ability going on as well. So yeah, Black Swan could be kind of in the same position as Gore, which really isn't a bad spot to be in for PvP for a tier 3 character that's trapped at level 70, native tier 3 of course. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to Thanos. He's also going to be getting the 1500 crystal uniform, as his uniforms are always 2500 crystals, so 40% discount. And then this is going to be replacing the Wise Harvester in some capacity, at least for the PvP portion. For PvE, it looks like the Wise Harvester is still going to be really, really good for that. So kudos to Netmarble for giving us some differentiation there. He is going to have the increased additional pierce damage by 5%, decreased basic damage received by 55%. That's really, really good. And then he's got the HP below 30%, recovers 70% of his HP on a 100-second cooldown. He's probably only going to be able to pop that once per fight, but at the same time, that's part of the Gilgamesh passive. And considering a lot of the other healing that he has in his kit, this is going to make Thanos really, really strong defensively. He also is going to be getting a little bit of a change. I guess it's going to be in the numbers to the Endless Void ultimate skill. We got some decreased all speed by 10%, some stun, fear, incapacitation, ignore target dodge rate by 100% for 10 seconds, 90% chance to penetrate everything, 10 seconds of invincibility, some more debuff removal there in his kit, 100% damage prop. And then on his leadership, he's getting an increase all basic attacks by 50% and increase all basic defenses by 40% for all supervillain allies, along with 12 seconds of debuff removal on a 20-second cooldown, once again for supervillain allies. So he's going to be a really, really strong PvP leadership for supervillains, probably the best in the game. And if this puts him at the top of the meta, up there with Silver Surfer and Madeline and Jean and Adam and all of them, yeah, Thanos is going to be a beast. For his tier 2 passive, pretty much looking really similar to what he has now. The increased skill damage bonus damage by 32 and 40%, increased damage dealt to targets with remove all debuffs by 80%, debuff removal instinct 80% damage buff. For his 4-star passive, he's getting super armor, increase all basic defenses again by 50%, and increase basic damage dealt to superheroes by 30%. I do believe right now he does have superhero and supervillain damage. He's also going to get a 20% heal when attacking. He's been having this for a while now. It's on a 2-second cooldown, but it does recover a lot of his health for him. And then on the 1, he's going to get the ignore targeting effect. So iframe ignore on the 1 that removes all buffs from target. So yeah, that's going to be really, really strong. He's got a recovery rate of 25%, 80% chance to penetrate everything, removes all debuffs. So this skill here is going to be really broken for PvP. It's also going to be on an 8-second cooldown, so he's going to be able to cast this thing every 4 seconds. So he's always going to be penetrating because the penetration lasts for 4 seconds. So yeah, can't hide from this thing anywhere at all. The only thing you can hope is that it doesn't have an iframe on it, and you'll be able to reflect a lot of that damage back at him. For the second skill, looks like he's going to get some burn stun on a 10-second cooldown. Third skills, looks like he's going to get some burn. It deals additional fire damage that has fire damage all defense down, I guess. Some paralysis that ignores immunity for 3 seconds. And then a frenzy buff of 45-45 for attack defense, 10% all speed, and 30% crit rate, 7 seconds of incapacitation. And 100% chance for immunity to all damage for 5 seconds on a 14-second cooldown. On the fourth skill, it's getting the good old time freeze, making a comeback. He's also got some burn and incapacitation in there as well as some increase all basic attacks. So another frenzy buff, this time 60% all attack and all defense, with 1% all speed on a 14-second cooldown. And then on the fifth skill, which also has a 14-second cooldown, he's going to get some stun, fracture, incapacitation, invincibility, immunity to all debuffs again. And then excluding bosses, he's going to be able to ignore enemies' damage decrease by 30% for 5 seconds. So yeah, this coupled with the 1, along with all of those frenzy buffs that he has, Thanos is going to be hitting really, really hard for PvP. And now for my guy Angel in the Fallen Angel uniform. This thing is going to be full cost 1,750 crystals. This is the first of the 2 seasonal uniforms that we're going to be getting. His leadership and none of that other stuff has changed, including his typing and allegiance. He's still going to be a super hero. So yeah, this could have been a really good time for them to switch him over into that super villain side of things and see if they could do something with him as far as that's concerned, but they chose not to do that. For his uniform effect, he's going to get the debuff removal. So they're moving it from the leadership to the uniform effect, and then they're moving the recovery rate from his uniform effect to the leadership. Yeah, kind of confusing there. 50% increase of recovery rate with a 30% dodge chance. I mean, I've seen worse leaderships, right? Not the best, not the worst. The dodge is probably the best thing there. Then for his tier 2 passive, it's going to get a crit rate increase. It applies to itself by 20%, increase guaranteed dodge rate by 35%, and increase skill damage by 50% and bonus damage by 45%. For the 4-star passive, he's going to get ignore target dodge rate by 30%. So he's going to have a lot of dodge in his kit. Super armor, increase all basic defenses by 40%. And then for the 1, he's going to have some stun. On the 2, he's going to have some burn with all defense down on it, and fracture, paralysis, both on a 4-second cooldown. On the 3, he's going to have a 15-second cooldown with some bleed, stun, incapacitation, 100% chance for damage immunity for 5 seconds, 1% damage accumulation. For the 4, he's going to get some burn, paralysis, decrease all defense down, 25% recovery rate, invincibility, and 100% damage proc. That's going to be on 15 and 16-second cooldown for the 3rd and 4th skill respectively. And then for the 5th skill, it's also going to be on a 15-second cooldown. You got silence, incapacitation, another 35% heal, a frenzy buff of 60-60 for attack and defense, and 50% crit rate, 7 seconds of incapacitation. One thing that I'm not seeing in this kit, however, is iframe ignore, counterattack. With iframe ignoring, it's something to allow him to compete in PvP. Looks like he's got a really strong kick for there with the recovery rate and the dodge. It applies to all allies. On the uniform passive, no less, the guaranteed dodge of 35%, along with the ignore targets dodge of 30%. They just didn't go far enough with this guy, along with 2 heals and damage accumulation with a decent frenzy buff, and some other ways to protect itself with the invincibility, and do believe he had some damage immunity up in there for 5 seconds. But without the iframe ignore, it all falls flat on its face. So hopefully they'll go back in the mid-month and address this, because this is one of the things that they really got to get right for the PvP characters. They did the same thing with Hela and never gave us any iframe ignore in the kit, and it looked like they're doing the same thing with Angel. Unless they actually add iframe ignore to this guy, it's probably going to be a hard skip for his uniform unless he can compete in a PvE capacity. But it doesn't look like his uniform is geared for that. Moving along to Satana with the Ascended One uniform. She's going to be the 30 tokens, as all the female characters are the token hard paywall characters. She's going to have the magic and the flame tag. Universal superhero, so that's actually going to be pretty good, and human as well. She's going to get the increased elemental damage by 35%, and then also 70% fire damage for her leadership, and both are going to apply to all allies. That means that she can give as much as 105% fire damage to a character like a Jean Grey. That's going to be broken.
Okay guys, let's get out there and make a difference. You know what to do.
And then additional 35% to any other elemental type character. She's going to be at least strong in that capacity for leadership / support. So that's going to be really good. For her tier 2 passive, she's going to get increased chain hit by 10%, ignore target dodge rate by 25%, increased skill damage bonus damage by 30 and 20% respectively. She's also going to get 30% increase of energy attack and decrease basic damage received on her 4-star pass. For the 1 skill, she's gonna get some fire damage, 7-second cooldown, 8 seconds on the 2 with some burn paralysis and fire damage. 3, she's got a 12-second cooldown, some burn, a 10-hit barrier, increase all attack by 30%. On the 4, she's gonna get some burn, some silence, some incapacitation, a 25% heal, a frenzy buff of 30% attack, 30% defense, and 30% crit rate for 7 seconds. So that's decent at least. And then she's got a 100% chance to grant all damage immunity for 5 seconds on a 15-second cooldown. She's also got a V-pad on the 5th skill with some burn, snare, and they're bringing back charm. It looks like she's gonna have a heal that's attached to this. We all know how these skills kind of work if the effect really doesn't affect the boss. So I hope they're taking this into account when they're applying this charm in her kit, so she can at least make use of the heal, because if not, this is going to be the only heal that she's going to be able to access, is going to be on our 4th skill. So like I said, I really hope they take that into account. Do something similar to what they did with Dr. Voodoo. She's got the invincibility for 6 seconds and a 50% damage proc for 7 seconds on a 16-second cooldown. Hopefully Zatanna is really strong. Most of these seasonal uniforms that we've been getting lately have been for characters that are available to go to tier 4. She's not, so maybe they address it in the mid-month update, but that's one of those things we're gonna have to wait a couple of weeks to find out. Thanos Wise Harvester improvements. What they're basically doing with the Wise Harvester uniform is they're increasing the amount of hits, and then they're giving this frenzy buff here 45% all attack, 45% all defense. Is going from that, so it's going up by 20% because it was 25% all attack and 25% all defense. In every other respect, this is remaining exactly the same. I don't see them changing or taking anything else out. It's just the hit count being increased for all of the skills, even the skill cooldown. This is one of those things that I hope they do more of. I think though, because it's specifically the Wise Harvester uniform that they sold last year at full price, 2,500 crystals, in this case for Thanos, is why it's being addressed. But it still took them a full year and a whole nother uniform in addition to these changes to get it addressed. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. I'm glad that it's being addressed. I just wish it hadn't took this long to do it. I'm also glad that they're doing it before the update as opposed to after the update, because you're gonna have people out there that are gonna want one or the other. This gives them the agency to make that choice, an informed decision. As far as the tier 4 and tier 3 advancements for Angel and Black Swan, when the striker skill is used, he increases his basic attack by 80% for 8 seconds, and then he decreases the damage received from Reflect by 100% for 3 seconds, and then he recovers 10% of his HP for 7 seconds. This skill could be really strong. You know, seems like it's a PvP effect, especially with this Reflect on there, or the reflect immunity. However, you know, maybe the New World Boss Legend has an element in there that reflects damage, but outside of that, there's no other place to really make use of this outside of PvP. So without iframe ignore in his kit, it's really gonna be difficult to make use of this. So hopefully they address this in the mid-month. And then the final member of the Black Order, Black Swan, receives her tier 3. She's gonna have some fear, some silence, incapacitation, invincibility, increase all basic damage by 100%, attack proc for 8 seconds, and 65% attack buff for 8 seconds. The animation on this thing actually looks really clean. Excited to see how she's gonna perform in PvP, moving or in any content. Moving on to Zatanna, Hell, and Hailstorm. For their awakened skills, of course, regular stuff: burn, paralysis, crit rate, crit damage, buffs, ignore targeting, dodge rate, buffs, 70% chance to penetrate, 8 seconds of invincibility, and pretty much the same thing for as far as the skills are concerned. The difference in the uniqueness of the animations I think is really good. You got the Spirit Bomb from Zatanna. Meanwhile, you got my guy Hailstorm with the Trident in the middle. Yeah, I like when they differentiate some of these awakened skills to be more unique, similar to what we saw with the Sinister Six awakened skills. Moving along to the important stuff, the rewards.
Anything.
Rewards.
How dare you mention that name to the Prince of Friends!
So, agents can unlock Black Swan from difficulty 1, clearing the unlock stage requirements, clearing story stage 8313, own 3 or more tier 4 heroes, clear all world boss challenges, world boss stages above every 10 level are unlocked with specific challenges. So you're gonna have to unlock at least 10 levels of every world boss, looks like. In order to get the Black Swan, it's gonna take a while for a lot of new players. As far as the rewards go, I'm loving this pity timer for the Titan records. Should have been in the game ages ago. Black Swan's conquer level can be achieved up to 200, and when you do, looks like you're gonna get a random CTP, but this is gonna take a while. You also got clear the new World Boss Legend Plus Black Swan to acquire various rewards. So she's gonna have the mighty CTP of energy, regen, destruction, judgment, authority, greed, refinement, and insight. Actually pretty darn dope that you can unlock all of these CTPs out of her. We're gonna have to wait and see what the drop rates are gonna be. Additionally, COD Titan Record Guarantee System, the bonus reward gauge will be charged if you do not obtain the Titan records when clearing the World Boss Ultimate, World Boss Legend, or World Boss Legend Plus. Once fully charged, you will obtain the Titan record selector, and then if you beat this thing, or if you get a Titan record, the gauge will reset. The difficulty tab for World Boss has been changed. All Ultimate, Legend, and 4, and then we're just doing Ultimate and Legend after. So presumably they're getting rid of World Boss Normal and World Boss Beginner. That's going to be great. But then they also talked about the rebalancing of the difficulty level of a lot of the world bosses as well. So maybe that plays in somehow as well. Today's world boss is divided into 2 difficulty levels, Ultimate and Legend. So agents can reset today's world boss. So the World Boss Legend reset system, right? Before, they had all of the world bosses in there: Cable, Thanos, the Black Order, all of them, right? And a lot of times you would just get a regular world boss. Well, you have players that don't even play World Boss Ultimate anymore, or World Boss Beginner, or World Boss Normal, or any of that stuff. All we play is Legend. So we'll at least be able to re-roll from the particular legends of that day. So that's dope.
Yeah! What? Yeah! Culture!
If you need a specific Titan record selector, because we saw in the live stream that the Titan records are gonna be sort of redistributed. I think I know Mephisto is gonna be Blast. I think Ultron is gonna be Speed, and Null is gonna be Combat, and Gore is gonna be Universal. And then the rest of the World Boss Legends will drop, I think, all of the books is how they're gonna have this thing set up. But we're gonna have to wait and see. World Boss Legend difficulty first clear reward has been reset. You already got your first clear rewards. You're gonna want to rerun all of the multiple of 5 stages. So 5, 10, 15, 20, all the way up to 95.
Just bring it!
Right? If you're that high up, so you can reacquire all of those first clear rewards. I actually think this is a really good way to get a lot of people to come back to the game, but it's only gonna be sort of temporary, if that makes any sense. Let's see, the reset first clear reward can be obtained when clearing corresponding world boss level. Artifacts will be added as the first clear reward for Kang the Conqueror, Dark Phoenix, and Gore. First clear rewards for level 10 and above will be newly added each 5 and 10 levels. Unlock conditions for Null, Mephisto, Infinity Ultron, and Gore have been simplified. So Null, clear 8-3 on 3 or more tier 3 heroes or transcendent potentials heroes. Defeat Thanos Ultimate 5 times. And then for Mephisto, Infinity Ultron, and Gore, it's going to be the same thing for the first 2. And then unlocking Null. So that's actually going to be really dope for a lot of new players. They're going to be able to get in and get these rewards faster, start building tier 3 and tier 4 heroes, which I know was holding a lot of people back and really disenchanting a lot of people from playing the game. The balance of certain bosses on World Boss Legend difficulty has been adjusted. Infinity Ultron and Gore adjustments in certain patterns and lowering stats. Kang the Conqueror improvements in certain patterns for the convenience. And Dark Phoenix adjustment of the patterns of Phase 3. Phase 1 and 2 of Dark Phoenix are going to be the same, but that last phase is where they're making a lot of the adjustments. For Kang the Conqueror, it's going to be as far as like all of the various cutscenes that he have being shortened. This is what I'm taking from this. And then for Infinity Ultron and Gore, it looks like they're just lowering the difficulty in terms of the patterns and in terms of the stats. So their HP and defenses are probably going to be a little bit lower. Improvements of the warning effect of Blade Twister, adjustment of Blade Twister's appearance, time, and location, and lowering its movement speed. Challenge record rankings will be reset for the entire world boss. You know what? I'm just going to say it. Storm is a prime example of the reason why you don't give characters slow movement speed. And a lot of this could be addressed just from that. Think about it. We got the seasonal uniform last year for Ghost Rider. The movement speed on that outside of his V-pad skill is horrible. Same thing with a character like Storm. And they haven't been the only two who have movement speed that is absolutely atrocious. One of the things that I like about this guy right here on your screen on your right, Gladiator, is his movement speed is amazing. It's similar to Iron Man in that respect. Glad that they're finally paying attention that movement speed has become sort of an issue for a lot of characters that they've dropped. Not all, but there have been more than enough. You know, those were just 2 seasonal uniforms that I named off, by the way. 1 hard paywall and 1 full crystal cost in Ghost Rider and Storm. Really glad that they're taking a look at this, but I wish they would take more of a look at it at the uniform level in that regard. The blade twisters and all of this stuff, maybe it helps in terms of crashes and things of that nature as well, for it not to be as random. Moving on to the artifacts. For Black Swan, 20% hero, 20% supervillain damage. That's going to be really good. It's a really strong artifact. Zatanna Hellstorm, she's going to be getting the increase all basic attacks by 20% and increase basic damage dealt to boss types by 10%. So that's pretty darn good. And then we got my man Hellstorm here. Oh, and this is going to apply to all universal type allies. I didn't catch that. So her artifact is going to be a support artifact as well for Zatanna. That's actually pretty dope. And then for my guy Hellstorm here, he's going to get the increased fire damage by 30% of fire resist. Then we're getting, for the first time ever, a change to an artifact. So Thanos before had an increase instinct crit rate by 14%, increase instinct crit damage by 20%, and ignore target's dodge rate by 15%. They're doing away with that. It's a god-awful artifact, and they are giving him increased damage dealt to superheroes and increased damage dealt to supervillains by 20%. In addition, they're giving him a 15% HP buff.
You talk about that one, Eddie?
And the Son has done been imparted with the knowledge of the Father.
15% is a decent amount of HP, especially when you're talking about a character like Thanos, who already has a ridiculously high base HP level, one of the highest in the game. Really, really good buffs for Thanos all the way around, from his former Thanos uniform to this new one that we're getting, as well as his artifact. If this is one of the times that you're thinking about taking Thanos to tier 4, I would say now's the time to do it. We also got the Future Pass coming in. So this is what the icons are looking like. I'm actually liking this one with Black Swan down here. And then we're getting one for Cap out the blue, which is kind of weird. Other improvements to go over right quick. So upgrade up to 10 ISOs can be done in a batch. So you can upgrade up to 10 ISOs at once. Be careful with your gold. Be careful with your materials when they make changes like this. But the UI for it looks really, really clean, and it looks like it's really straightforward and easy to understand. Just make sure you're paying attention to which star level you have going on and what color ISOs you're using. When it comes down to chaotics though, I don't necessarily know if I would use the batch upgrade system. Function of batch craft in story has been added. Okay, so you can craft your story fragments in batches as opposed to just one at a time. This is going to be really, really dope. In addition, you will be able to auto enhance your artifacts now to a set level. So if you want to set a level, say you want to upgrade it to 6 or 10 or 20, you can go straight to the max. Keep in mind, once again, the amount of celestial essence and gold that you're going to be burning. Other improvements, agents can check the popularity ranking of heroes when selecting a hero using selector biometrics and exchange. So not sure how I feel about this because, you know, popularity of a hero, you know, people build different heroes for different reasons. I don't know if I would necessarily use that as a guide. If they're limiting it to like daily active users sort of thing, then that's good. But if they're taking into account, you know, everybody that's playing the game, I feel like it kind of skew the outcome of what they want this thing to reflect. Improvements are made with the agent badge. See, it will no longer allow selecting materials when enhancing the agent badge at its maximum level. The maximum level of the agent badge has been expanded from 999 to 1999. And let's see, they're changing certain challenge path of agent has been changed. Clear story, one time, preview skill, combo practice. So it looks like they're making a lot of changes. Let's see, the wall effect of the CTP of Conquest does not affect the reflect damage. The damage decrease ignored effect does not activate normally when the wall effect of the CTP of Conquest is activated. So it looks like they have fixed this. The basic defense increase effect of Carnage Fallen Soul Leader skill not being applied when overlap with defense increase effect of ISO has been fixed. So it looks like there's overlap error going on with some of Carnage kit. And then the issue where Spider-Man's Tier 4 skill that remove the Alliance Battle Boss penalty buff has been fixed. So yeah, a lot of changes, a lot of new rewards coming. Looks like it's going to be faster than ever to build your Tier 3 and Tier 4 heroes. So that's actually a great thing. Yeah, y'all like, comment, share, sub. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below about all of the changes that's coming to World Boss, to all World Bosses. And yeah, we'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.